Two brothers, same salary, completely different lives. One retires at 55 with generational wealth. The other works until 70 and struggles with his finances. What's the difference between them? It's not luck, and it's not magic. It's mathematics. And it's a lesson that changes how you think about money forever. If you're serious about building real wealth, hit subscribe, because this channel breaks down the financial patterns that actually work. Let me tell you their story. Both brothers grew up in the same household. They had identical educations, similar careers, and for the first 10 years of their working lives, they earned exactly the same salary. $60,000 per year. Nothing fancy, but respectable, comfortable, enough to live on. Here's where their paths diverged. On his 30th birthday, the first brother made a decision. He looked at his salary and asked himself a simple question. What if I spent less than I earn? He decided to save 20% of his gross income. That's $12,000 every single year. Not a fortune, but not nothing either. He opened an investment account and automated the deposits. Every paycheck before he even saw the money in his checking account, $12,000 went into index funds. He didn't overthink it. He didn't try to time the market. He just bought and held. Year after year after year. The compounding began quietly. In year 1, he had $12,000. In year 2, with market returns, he had almost $25,000. By year 5, he was approaching $100,000. He kept his lifestyle stable. Same apartment for 15 years. He drove a reliable car until it genuinely couldn't run anymore. He cooked at home most nights. He didn't deprive himself entirely, but he didn't confuse comfort with excess. His brother, meanwhile, made a different choice. He earned the same salary, but he spent nearly all of it. He upgraded his apartment every few years. He bought a new car every 5 years. He dined out 4 times a week. He took 2 vacations per year. His life looked more impressive on Instagram. His apartment was nicer. His car turned heads. But at the end of every month, his bank account was nearly empty. Any unexpected expense became a crisis. Any market downturn meant stress, not opportunity. He wasn't irresponsible exactly, but he was living at the edge of his means. And that edge is where most people stay. Now let's fast forward 20 years. Both brothers are 50. The first brother's investments have grown to roughly $800,000. The market had good years and bad years, but he never touched the money. He never sold during downturns. He just kept adding $12,000 every single year, and the compound interest did the heavy lifting. At 50, he did something remarkable. He stopped working. He didn't need the salary anymore. His investments threw off enough income through dividends and careful withdrawals to cover his lifestyle. He was free. He traveled. He spent time with his family. He mentored young people. He volunteered. He had options. Real, genuine options. His brother at 50 was tired. Very tired. He had saved almost nothing. A tiny emergency fund, but no real wealth. His salary had increased over the years, but so had his spending. Every raise became a lifestyle upgrade. His apartment was now more expensive. His car was newer. His restaurant visits had become even more frequent. The math had crushed him, without him even realizing it. He owed money on his car. He had a modest mortgage that would stretch another 15 years. He couldn't retire. He couldn't even imagine retiring. He had to keep working. But here's where the story gets painful. Between ages 50 and 70, something else happened. The first brother's wealth continued to compound. He wasn't adding new money anymore, but compound interest doesn't care. His $800,000 became $1.5 million, then $2 million, then $3 million. He built a foundation in his name. He helped his children with down payments on houses. He gave generously to causes he cared about. His money generated more money than he could spend. Generational wealth wasn't a dream, it was his reality. His brother, meanwhile, had to keep showing up to work. At 60, his knees hurt. At 65, he wanted to retire, but he couldn't afford to. He worked until 70 because the alternative was poverty in his 70s. When he finally stopped, his retirement savings were modest. He lived in a small apartment. He couldn't travel much. He couldn't help his grandchildren. He lived comfortably enough, but he lived small. The difference between $800,000 at 50 and 0 at 50 isn't the difference between comfortable and rich. It's the difference between free and trapped. And that's what compound interest really means. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what if I can't save 20%? What if my salary is even lower? The beautiful part about mathematics is that it scales. If you earn $30,000 a year and you save 10%, that's $3,000. If you earn $100,000 and you save 10%, that's $10,000. The percentage matters more than the absolute number. And here's the critical insight that most people miss. The earlier you start, the more powerful the math becomes. A 25-year-old who saves 5% of their income and never increases that saving rate will accumulate more wealth than a 40-year-old who saves 20%. Time is the ingredient that makes the magic real. If this insight resonates with you, please like the video. This is the kind of financial truth that deserves to spread. Let me break down the actual numbers one more time, because this is where the lesson lives. Assume a 7% annual return on a basic index fund. This is slightly below the historical market average, so it's conservative. A person saving $12,000 a year from age 30 to age 50 accumulates roughly that $800,000 I mentioned. But here's the kicker. If that person continues to age 55 and does nothing else, that $800,000 becomes $1.2 million just from compound interest alone. No new contributions, just time. That's an extra $400,000 for waiting 5 more years. That's why the first brother could retire at 55. The money was making more money than he spent. Most people fundamentally misunderstand wealth. They think wealth is about income. They think if they just earned more, everything would be fine. But the real mechanism of wealth is the gap between what you earn and what you spend, invested over time. A person earning $200,000 a year and spending $190,000 has a $10,000 gap. A person earning $60,000 and spending $48,000 has a $12,000 gap. The second person will build more wealth, even though they earn a third as much. Wealth is built in the gap, and the gap must be invested, not buried in a savings account earning nothing. So what should you do with this knowledge? First, calculate your own gap. What's the difference between what you earn and what you actually spend? Not what you think you spend. Actually track it for 3 months. The gap is sacred. That gap is your wealth-building tool. Second, invest that gap. Don't try to pick individual stocks. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Buy a diversified index fund and set up automatic contributions. Make it invisible so you can't be tempted to spend it. Third, protect the gap fiercely. Every lifestyle upgrade is a threat to the gap. When you get a raise, don't automatically increase your spending. Let your gap grow instead. This is the hard part, because everyone around you will be increasing their spending, and you'll feel left behind. But you won't be. You'll be building real wealth while they build debt. The brothers in this story aren't fictional. Their patterns are real. Thousands of people follow the first brother's path and achieve genuine freedom. Thousands follow the second brother's path and never do. The difference isn't talent or luck. It's discipline and mathematics. And mathematics is available to anyone. It doesn't care about your background or your starting salary. The compound interest machine is indifferent and fair. It will work for you if you feed it, but it will work against you if you ignore it. Those are your only 2 options. There is no third way. The math doesn't allow it. So if you're ready to stop being average with money, subscribe to this channel. We release videos every week that break down these wealth-building patterns in detail. And if this video crystallized something for you, if it changed how you think about your salary and your spending, I'd love to know what shift happened. Leave a comment and tell me, what's your gap right now? What's the difference between what you earn and what you spend? And what's one category where you could protect that gap more fiercely?